and welcome to Big Muddy Mayhem, the podcast where we talk about true crime and bad behavior in the Midwest.
Each week, we'll bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might break your heart, but we hope to entertain you along the way.
I'm Janet O'Brien.
And I'm Tracey Laricha.
Hello!
Hi! Hello, Janet. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, doing all right. We are getting through this heat wave the very best that we can.
Exactly.
And I think that it's been very stormy. It was raining inside my kitchen today for a brief moment.
Oh, good.
But otherwise, I think we're kind of to the end of this wave of it, at least.
Yes.
Yeah,
my dad was sending me pictures just a few minutes ago about places that are flooded currently in the city.
In Nashville, Indiana, which is sort of in between here and Mount Vernon, there was a dam that burst today, and they had to evacuate a whole big swath of people.
Oh, wow.
Because, the levee just broke, and so a whole lot of folks had to kind of be moved around. So,
that sucks.
So all of our best dry, safe thoughts to any of you Midwesterners that might be dealing with this throughout this most recent weather pattern. But we're not we are not a weather podcast.
No, we're not. It turns out we do true crime.
That's right. We're going to talk about other awful things. And Janet, I believe that you are the person that goes first this week.
Yes, I am.
Shaking out the book. Oh my!
Shake it off. Shake it off.
Oh dear.
No, I'm just being silly.
Okay.
Tracy's like, what are you about to tell me?
Do I need to go get a pillow to hug?
It's a sad story, but at the same time, it's like, wait, what?
Okay.
So, I'm going to tell you that we are going to start in Missouri.
Okay.
Near Mexico,
Good,
Missouri.
We're already here.
I know.
All right. And Mexico, Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mexico, Missouri is involved in this, and so is Moberly, and that area of Missouri.
That kind of area. So it's
No. It's north.
North? Okay.
Yeah, it's north of 70. So it's kind of up nearish Paris-ish.
Okay. I think I know roughly.
Yeah. So anyway, we are going to talk about Molly Watson. Molly Watson is the victim in the story.
All right.
Okay. She was 35. She was 35 years old when this happened to her. She was born December 15th, 1982. She was born in Moberly, Missouri. She was married pretty young and ended up getting a divorce. But right when she was going through her divorce, she found out that she was pregnant. So she was very happy about that. She wanted a child, so she ended up having a son. She was a very, very smart person. She went to Columbia College. She already had a degree in psychology. She was already going to school to get some other stuff.
Now, is this before or after?
No, I mean this is before.
Before.
Yeah,
okay,
so she's doing a lot of stuff. She's going to school. She's divorced, but she did start dating a woman that she had been friends with for a very long time, and she dated that person for about 5 years. Because of her degree in psychology and where she was located, a great place to get a job with that kind of degree is a correction officer.
Oh, right, because there is a prison there, isn't there?
Right.
In Moberly?
It's nearby.
Or nearby,
yeah.
Okay.
So she ends up getting a job at the Missouri Department of Corrections. She also happens to have her own YouTube channel. And her name, she goes by the name Snarky Snarkster. I love that
name. Wasn't it the concatenate order of the hoo-hoo that had like the grand snark as a title?
Yes.
I love it. Love it.
She just did random things. She liked talking about her geekiness. She'd rather be called a geek than a nerd. She was into just a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly, some of the videos I've watched of her talk, I'm like, yeah, I could see her being friends with some of our friends. She's like that kind of level. She was a little bit on the spectrum, and she's just a very nice person in general. So while she was when she first started working, I'm sorry, I'm going to cough.
It's okay.
While she was working at the Moberly Area Correctional Center, she met this older man by the name of James Addy.
Okay.
And right off the bat, she is head over heels over this guy.
Oh.
And because of that, her relationship with the lady she had been dating for 5 years ends.
Okay. Now, what does James have to recommend him? Why is he so special?
I don't know, but they get along really well. He's also a correction officer as well. He is 15 years older than her.
Okay.
So she's like probably in her late 20s at this point, and he's about 15 years older than her. James Addy, he was married a couple of times, and then he ended up meeting and marrying Melanie Addy in 1995.
Okay.
When James started dating, now, okay, it's going to get a little confusing because both women start with the letter M. Molly is the victim.
Molly is the victim.
Melanie is James's wife.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Just trying to get that ahead. So, they got Melanie and James got married in 1995. And when he started dating Molly, he said, "Oh, well, we're in the process of getting a divorce."
Now, is Melanie also much younger than James?
No.
Do we know? No, they're more. That's more age appropriate.
Exactly.
Okay.
They had both James and Melanie when they were married. They ended up having 2 children, Ben and Emma. Melanie was basically a stay-at-home mom, and for her children, and James really loved his job because he had control there. He was able to, say, I'm the,
I'm in charge.
Exactly.
I'm the supervisor.
Right.
The assistant to the general manager.
Exactly. And he was trying to pull this at home. Well, Melanie was like, I love my children. I love working at home. That's not going to work. Like, I want to get out of the house because the kids are in school now. I want to do something. And James felt like he was losing control. And Melanie's
he
like...
He wants her at home, like, just keeping the home fires burning.
Right. And she's like, no, I need to get out of the house. So at some point, she's like, you know what? I don't really care what you say. I'm just going to go get a job anyway. And she should, She's like...
Good.
Right. So she ends up getting a job as basically a teacher at a daycare. And she loves it. She's like, it gets me out of the house. I get to see other people.
Sure.
It's very nice.
And her kids are in school, so
Exactly.
she doesn't really need daycare for her own children anymore.
Exactly. So she starts working, and his behavior starts to get bad. It's not, they're arguing about more things and stuff, and she's like, okay, well, we've been married a long time. That's just the thing that happens. And then she started noticing that when he would get up in the morning, he would leave like 2 hours before his shift started. And the jail was, the facility he worked at was only 45 minutes from the house.
And the line at Panera is not that long.
So, and then he would get home, he would get off at 3, but he wouldn't get home until 5. And she's like... So every time he would come home, she's like, what is going on? Why are you... What's going on? And he's
Where
like,
are you for these hours of day?
Right. And he's like, oh, well, I just stopped to see a friend. And then, of course, it would start an argument. So she only brought it up part of the time.
Can't a hardworking man stop off and have a beer with his buddies once in a while? That
right.
Kind of thing.
But it was daily. And she said he always had an excuse, and arguments would always ensue anytime she'd bring it up. So there was a couple of times where he's like, hey, I'm going to go on this, our buddies at work decide we're going to go on this trip together. And one was to Florida and another one was to Mexico. And she's like, okay, sure. And she noticed when the pictures would come back, specifically the Mexico ones, he would show her pictures and they were just of him.
So not the group.
Exactly.
Not anything
right.
Here we all are having fun.
Just
here
him.
It is, just us boys out
right.
for dinner or out smoking cigars at the beach club or whatever. But no.
No.
No photos because...
Just him. Seems a little suspicious.
You know, I bet that a lot of his guy friends were probably screwing around too, which means, like, they probably should have at least staged a few of those.
I don't know. So James continues his affair with Molly for 7 years.
Whoa!
7.
There are marriages that don't last that long.
I know. So, the trips that happened to Florida and the trips that happened to Mexico were with Molly, not his wife.
Oh, Molly is his guy friend.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, nice.
Eventually, I think it was Molly who ends up asking James to marry her.
Oh, wow.
And he says yes.
Oh, okay. So he's just yes right away and deal with the wife part later?
Well, you know, they're still going through a divorce.
Yes, but...
For 7 years or whatever. There's even footage, like I saw the footage today, of them going a week before the wedding, because they got all the way up almost to the wedding. They went to go get their marriage certificate.
Oh my.
And like they totally got him, and the person who was taking the information from James is like, okay, well,
we have a problem?
no, he's like,
No?
they're like, are you sure you're, he's like, well, when did you divorce your wife? And he asked one other question, and James just blows it off. It's like, why the hell do you want to know that? So he has to sign an affidavit saying that he is legally able to get married.
Okay.
That's how you get around that question.
I see. But the thing is, if you sign the affidavit and you aren't, are we going to get there? We're going to get there.
So Molly's family, when Molly's brother Tim met this James dude long time ago, like when they first started dating, he immediately, his spidey sense went off. He's like, there's something wrong with him. Don't like him. He doesn't look me in the eye. He kind of has his head down. He doesn't talk a lot. He's like, are you sure you want this guy?
This isn't right. This is not what I would choose for my sister.
Right. And the brothers told Molly, you can actually look up to see if there's an actual divorce even happening online.
That's right.
And, of course, there were no records of a divorce even happening. But Molly's just like, no, it'll be fine. And she's actually starting to pack some stuff up, and she's giving it to James so he can put it into his attic, like, pictures from their trip and other little things and stuff.
You need one person in your life with like a premium CaseNet subscription.
I know!
And
that would be Amy.
And like no compulsion, no friction, no problem with telling you exactly what you need to hear.
Yeah.
You need at least one person.
So Molly starts moving boxes into his attic. And that way, once they get married, her and her child can move right in.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Do we know anything about, like, how the child is feeling about this?
No, they don't really mention
it. Doesn't address it. How old is her?
I have no idea how the child is. At one point, Melanie, the wife, she's asleep. And she wakes up she's at her house, she's asleep, and she wakes up to the smell of gas. And she's like, she notices all the windows are closed, and James is sitting out on the front porch smoking a cigarette. She's like, he never goes outside to smoke.
He always smokes in the house?
Yeah.
Gross.
And so, I know. And so she comes outside going, there's something happening in the house. And he like throws his cigarette down. He's like, I'll be right back. And he goes in and does something, and he's like, I figured it out, it's fine. And he opens the windows, gets the gas out, and she goes to bed. Now, she doesn't think anything of this because, she's woken up out of a dead sleep from smelling gas.
And you know what? Sometimes that stuff does.
It just does happen. Exactly.
My, our terrible felon kitten accidentally turned the gas on one night. Like, he was climbing up around the stove and turned one of the things on and the burner just didn't catch.
You might need to get those things like Alice has.
I think that I need child-proof things for the kitten, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're just little cups that go over those dials.
Oh, good gracious. I know, but...
So anyway, she doesn't think anything of it at the time, but like later on, she's like, oh, that whole instance of the gas comes back to haunt her. She's like, that seems odd.
In light of other things.
Exactly.
Yeah, then it's like the blocks kind of fall into place and you're like, oh, wow, look at all of these.
Right. So when they got to the, I explained that when they got to the courthouse, they did, and the county recorder, that was the person who was like, yeah, he didn't want to tell me anything. Then the lies continue.
Okay.
James ends up telling Molly a few weeks before the wedding that he would have to that they need to reduce the guest list because his ex-wife, supposedly he's divorced, has been in a horrible car accident and she's on life support.
Oh no, and so he needs money to take care of this. It's for the children.
Well, he doesn't ask for money, but he's like, he's not going to be around for a couple of weeks because of this.
Right, so he's got to kind of cut down what they're doing for the wedding.
Right, and he's just kind of like, she's been in a horrible accident and on life support. Turns out she wasn't.
Say so.
So Molly has been going religiously to their wedding planner, and so she's telling the wedding planner all this stuff.
Oh, she's getting ready to go live out her Cinderella fairy dream.
Right, exactly. Like she's bought. Do you know what kind of wedding they were planning? A Princess Disney wedding.
What year is this?
This is so that was, let's see here. They met in what year? It was
I just want to know which princess she's going to be, and the year will tell us that.
Right.
It's okay.
Okay, I'll find it.
Okay.
No, it was 2018.
2018. So, I don't know. That's way beyond mine. Who is she in 2018?
She's 35.
Rapunzel? Is this Elsa?
No. She just flat out Disney, like princess wedding. She's even bought 2 wedding dresses because she's not even sure which one she wants to wear. She's so excited about getting married. Okay. And so they planned on getting married on April 29th, 2018. That was the date. April 27th of 2018.
Oh, no.
Molly's body was found on a remote road.
He told her she was sick.
She still had, when they found her, she still had her engagement ring on her finger and the marriage license with James's name on it sitting on the front seat.
Oh, wait. Okay, God, I said she was sick. I was thinking of the wife. No, this is the girlfriend that's dead.
This is the girlfriend.
Sorry. Molly and Maggie? Is that the...
Molly and Melanie.
Melanie, thank you. There are too many M names.
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
I've got M names in mine, too. So, I guess we're...
So Molly is found dead on an abandoned road.
Okay.
She still has her wedding ring on, her engagement ring, because they're not married yet. They find the marriage certificate. The cops are like, well, I guess we got to go drive over to this guy's house and tell him his fiance is dead.
Right. So they've got the marriage certificate that's not all the way filled out. They are not legally wed. They are just... Okay.
So she has been shot in the back of the head.
Oh, dear.
When they did the autopsy, they could tell the barrel of the gun was on the back of her head.
Boy,
why?
When those David's Bridals reps want to do an upsell, they want to do an upsell. You want a cathedral length train.
So they go to his house, knock on the door, because they're about to tell him, your fiance is dead. And this woman answers the door.
Oh, dear.
His wife of 23 years, Melanie.
She's just there to help him try on cummerbunds.
She was very, very confused when the cops told her, We're here to tell James that his fiance has been killed. And she's like, wait, what?
I'm sorry?
I'm his wife? So that happened. And then the next...
on bikes. That's awful.
The next day, like, the daughter was getting ready, was having prom the next day. And, like, she hadn't told the children yet. She didn't even know, this is, like, exploding her mind.
Sure, like, what do you say? Like,
right.
hi?
So the daughter, like, the next evening is getting ready to go to prom. And like, they're sitting around the table... And the father's gone because the father was arrested, and Melanie's like, just go to prom. You'll have a fun. We'll explain later, because she's like, she doesn't even know what to say.
There's nothing that calms you down by somebody saying, no, just go on about your life. I'll explain this weird thing that is kind of uncomfortable and that I obviously don't want to discuss with you later.
And of course,
enjoy your meal.
The daughter goes to prom and reads the newspaper and finds out while she's at prom.
Oh my goodness.
Oh look, my dad has been arrested because his fiance.
Oh my gosh.
So she reads that and she's like, holy cow. She had no idea. Now the daughter said that she did meet this Molly woman like once or twice, because apparently her dad went to like a Comic-Con with her or something like that.
Right,
because
so like, oh, my friend, Molly. Yeah.
Right. So Melanie is just, the wife is just like at a loss. She still doesn't even know what the hell's happening. And she's like, okay, well, let me search my house. Maybe there's something I just completely missed. She goes into the attic.
Okay.
And she finds a box of pictures. Because she's seen pictures from Mexico with just him, and now she finds the pictures with him and Molly.
And you're like, oh, this was this trip, and this is why he was just taking selfies the entire time that he was down on Playa del Other Woman.
And the funny part is that after he took that trip with Molly, like a year later, he did the exact same trip with his wife.
Isla de Mujeres Otras.
I found this lovely place. You should come along. So, she said when she found the pictures and, Molly's was in it, it was just blowing her mind. The police start trying to figure out, what's going on. They're like, well, he had motive because he's engaged. They go and they look at the tire tracks that were near Molly's body. Mm-hmm. They match the tire tracks on his vehicle.
Motive means?
When they search Molly's phone, they find that she had been searching for Melanie's obituary. Because at this point, Melanie is dead. Wow. And she can't find James's ex-wife's obituary because not his ex-wife, also not dead.
Right, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm so sad, I'm so sorry, it's all over. Oh. So
they think and like he had told her, oh well, she's on life support, and they took her off the life support. That's what he has told Molly. So, and then they also find that there's a shirt that has been on the ground nearby Molly, and the shirt has her blood on it, but it is also absolutely 150% his t-shirt because his teenage daughter made it for him in a print press, and it was misprinted. Like there was a double print on it. Oh, so there was only one of these.
Right. So it's
and he was wearing it.
And how would she get it otherwise?
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
So so they found that shirt, and they're like, okay, this is definitely the shirt that Emma made James. Emma is his daughter.
Oh.
Within a week of this murder happening, Melanie files for divorce. She's like, nope. 3 years after the murder, they end up going to trial, and both Melanie and his daughter get up on stand and they basically go against him.
Good for her.
So James apparently had told the cops that, oh, I got home at 8 p.m. And Emma, his daughter's like, no, he didn't. He got home at 10. He came home and he went and took a shower right away, and then he started doing a load of laundry, which is weird for my dad because he doesn't do the laundry at my house. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she was picking up on things.
Strong women. May we be them, may we know them, may we raise them.
Right.
Good for them.
So that was, they're giving information that goes against James. And then also they figured out the ammo that was used to kill Molly was the same that was in James's house.
Oh. Okay.
They believe the reason why he killed her is because she went to confront him because she found out that Melanie was not dead.
So she's like, what the heck? Come on. Like,
right.
You're lying to me. You're feeding me a story.
Right. So he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Mm-hmm. When all this happened, Molly's parents suffered horribly. Like, her mom apparently had a nervous breakdown, and then she ended up getting sick and passing away. And then her dad, while he was taking care of her, also had a lot of issues. And so Tim basically lost all of his family members.
Oh, that's awful.
He lost his sister, and then he lost both of his parents.
Oh, man, that's
because of this. Mm-hmm. And like during the interview with her brother, it's like he just should have just told her, listen, it would have broken her heart, but she'd still be here.
Right, if somebody...
Why would you do that? Just say, okay, I lied. This went way too far. I kept saying yes. He should have just broke it off, but instead, no, he had to kill her. And he didn't need to kill her.
No, not at all.
There was no reason for it. So yeah, that's really the story. It's just...
That is so sad.
It's just
great. And senseless. Like, man, there's just... Like you said, there is a point where you just need to be like, all right.
Yeah, I let it go too far. I shouldn't have said yes when you asked me to marry you. I shouldn't have let you get them, I just didn't know where to stop.
Just break up.
Yeah.
Just break up.
Just say, okay, I lied. I really like doing stuff with you. I'm married. And then it would just end. Just end it. But no, he chose the stupid way.
Oh, that is absolutely awful. But...
So that is my story.
Oof. Well, at least there is kind of a resolution.
Exactly. I mean, they figured it out like a day later.
Good.
It didn't go on and on. And, took 3 years to actually convict him, but he was in jail the entire time, so it doesn't really matter.
Fantastic. I do have a story for you.
Good.
And because it wouldn't be a Tracey story if I didn't have something that I didn't have ready, I'm going to ask you to vent for 5 seconds while I grab my glasses. I have the long ones.
Glasses.
Here they are.
Woohoo!
That was a short vamp. All right. I have my photos and everything else though ready to go. All right. So, Janet, for you, I have got a story today. And we are going to talk about Cowboy Ray Green.
Cowboy Ray Green.
We are, yes. Cowboy Ray Green. And so Ray Green, now I promise we are going to get to the Midwest.
Okay.
Eventually on this. But we kind of take a circuitous route to get there, Ray Green is raised in Texas. I don't have a whole lot of the early stories for either of these people, but he's a true cowboy.
Okay.
He grows up kind of on a ranch in Texas. He is a bronco buster. He serves two separate tours with the Airborne Division in the Army.
Oh, wow.
In Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
So he goes twice. Like, he does his tour, gets done, and goes back and does another one. He is an excellent horseman. He's an animal lover. There's one story that I think is fantastic, and that is that while living in Texas, the neighborhood that he lives in, there's a loose alligator that's kind of prowling around, and they get in touch with a division of wildlife, and this alligator was big enough that it breaks a couple of the traps.
Oh, wow.
It's almost 12 foot long.
Wow.
Well, Ray Green runs into it one day, and he ends up just picking this gator up with his bare hands.
Oh, my God.
And shoves it in a barn and locks it into an empty barn stall until it can come and be collected.
Oh, my God.
So this is he's a dude, he is a John Wayne type.
Yeah.
This is a manly man, right? He marries his childhood sweetheart. Her name is Maggie. They met when she was 6 and he was 11.
Aww.
So they weren't like romantically involved,
Right.
obviously, like right then, but they did. They hooked up very, very young. And they were just like sweethearts growing up. They are blissfully happy, and even more so when their daughter Tracey is born.
Aww.
And she spells her name the right way. So here is a picture of Ray and Maggie and little Tracey.
Oh my! He's got a cowboy hat and a beard.
He looks like an Oak Ridge boy.
Yes, he does.
She looks like the perfect 70s housewife. She's
Yep.
making you something with wheat germ. And they've got their little daughter with like feathered bangs.
Yep.
And a cute little Peter Pan collar.
Oh my God, she's adorable.
And yeah, like
They're
they're just
an
the
amazing
cutest little
family.
family, right? So they're perfectly happy. He is a trainer and a horse breeder and a farrier. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what a farrier
So
is.
a farrier is somebody that puts shoes onto a horse.
Oh, yes.
So that does all of the like trimming
Yes.
back of the nails and then shoeing and reshoeing of horses.
Okay.
So he's a farrier, a trainer, and a horse breeder. His wife is primarily just like stays at home. She's a homemaker and she's raising their daughter. They live on a 200-acre ranch in San Antonio. They have over 70 horses.
Wow.
They're doing well for themselves. This family life is just idyllic. But if it stays that way, we wouldn't have a podcast.
Of course.
So, circa 2001, somebody starts coming around, getting her horse groomed and hanging out and asking questions. Her name is Danny. She's 29. Ray's head isn't one to be turned, although people do notice that Danny is kind of,
Hanging out with that lady.
hanging out and like wanting to kind of put the moves on Ray a little bit. But he's so happily married.
Right.
He doesn't pay it too much attention. It might just be that part of it is that, Danny's not in the greatest of relationships, so she might just be looking for some kind of connection.
Right.
On May 27th, 2002, everything changes. Maggie dies.
Oh, my.
Maggie is killed when a barge butts into the I-40 bridge, the interstate overpass,
Oh.
and it causes a bridge collapse.
Oh,
There
no.
are about 12 cars on the bridge at the time that the bridge just goes straight 70 feet down into the water. There are no survivors.
Oh, my God.
So Maggie passes then, and Ray is devastated.
Yeah.
He just keeps saying to his daughter, I miss my Rose, I miss my Rose. And so he's a changed man. He's a shell of himself. And within weeks of Maggie's death, Danny's around all the time.
Of course she is.
She's a sympathetic ear. She knows how terrible it is to feel so lonely. She's going through this rough divorce herself right now.
Right.
And she says all the right things. Ray is lonely. He's also never really been on his own. He married her very young.
Right.
So it's pretty common knowledge that Ray is also going to be receiving a pretty big payout for this bridge collapse. Mm-hmm. So Tracey, she's like in her teens, I think, by
Right.
then. She doesn't like Danny one little bit.
Oh.
Danny has this habit of just taking and wearing a lot of her mother's things.
Oh, no.
And really personal things. Like, they were like cowgirl folks.
Uh-huh.
So her boots, her hat,
Oh,
things that are
no.
very personal. So in 2004, though, Ray and Danny are hanging out a little bit, and they go on vacation, and surprise, they come back married.
Of course.
Daughter doesn't know anything about it. Friends don't know anything about it. But dun 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 dun. Not long after, the settlement money comes through. Ray and Danny move down to Florida.
Okay.
Now, they buy $1 million home
Jesus.
in an equestrian neighborhood. There are like 20 some odd miles of equestrian trails that don't interact with roads.
Oh my
So
God.
this is a neighborhood for horsey people.
Right. Uh-huh.
And there's also like training circles and stuff like that. And they move down there and spend all this money because Ray is going to help Danny chase her dream. Danny wants to be an Olympic dressage rider.
Oh my God.
And she is fairly talented.
That's good.
So so she's just sun up to sundown. He's got the money.
Right.
She's riding horses and trying to teach them to step pretty and all of that. By 2008, the housing bubble bursts.
Oh, no.
We all remember that.
Yes, we do.
Some of us remember that. The Green family, they're in this expensive home that has a second mortgage, and they have this very expensive hobby. Horses aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
Breeding and training shore horses, this is one of the first things that people tighten their belts on. Mm-hmm. You get rid of your show horse when you can't afford to pay your rent.
Right.
So the Greens tighten up by selling some livestock. They're selling eggs from the farm. They also actually get a contract to become the landscapers for the neighborhood association where they live.
Oh my God.
So Ray is out there struggling to keep up by mowing, the cul-de-sacs and making sure the trails are clear and all of that stuff. Danny doesn't love this because she thought she was going to have, a good life. They do have one form of entertainment.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of cowboy action shooting?
No, I've not.
Okay. It's kind of adorably quaint. People dress up in Wild West gear.
Okay.
And then the firearms are all antiques or reproductions of firearms from the time. And they're all historically accurate, and they shoot just at targets.
Okay.
Just at targets.
Got it.
And everybody, for fun, gets a cowboy name.
Oh, okay.
So if you're in this, it's sort of, some, other, arts communities and stuff like that.
Right.
You're okay, well, you have this.
Yeah.
Danny and Ray, they find friends and community there, and they become active members. Danny actually is very, very good at shooting. She ends up winning a whole lot of awards. You can see them.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, they...
in their cowboy uniforms.
Yes.
Danny shoots under the name Danny Oakley. And Ray shoots under Doc R. Green.
Okay.
Okay. Danny is the best shooter in the club. She
Wow.
immediately starts winning all the championships. Money is still tight. Danny is still not happy. She thinks that maybe Ray is sending money to his daughter like an asshole, So she tries to tighten control. Ray and Danny share a cell phone, which seems a little bit weird.
Yeah, it does.
This late in the day. So Danny blocks Tracy's number. And letters, cards, even the certified mail Christmas card that Tracy sends with pictures of her kids in it so that Ray could see his grandchildren.
Oh my God.
It gets returned back to her. So Ray thinks that his daughter is just kind of cutting him off because he got remarried.
He has no idea.
I know.
Ugh.
And Tracy thinks that her father is just moved on.
Right.
It's so sad. And there's a lot that happens next.
Okay.
First of all, the house falls to a short sale, which is not great.
No, it's not.
Second of all, within weeks of one another, both of Danny's parents are diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Jesus.
So there's a whole lot going on in this household right now. Danny goes back home to care for both of her parents because somebody's got to do it.
Right, absolutely.
And she might have even been an only child. I think she was.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so Danny heads back to beautiful Dillsboro, Indiana.
and
this is where we get to the Midwest.
Midwest.
Dillsboro is a town that was named after a Civil War general, and it was established in 1830. The current population, as of the most recent 2020 census, is 1,360 people.
Small town.
Very small town. Ray stays in Florida because, remember, they had that contract for the landscaping.
Right.
He's got obligations to meet. So he's staying on his friends' couches and, like, finishing up mowing the lawn at this fancy $1 million property neighborhood that he used to live in.
Wow.
He is sending every available cent to Danny. One of the friends that he stays with says, like, oh, yeah, he would eat, like, cereal for, like, days. And that would be it. Because he would send everything he could to her. The friend he's staying with feels bad for him and does end up getting him a burner phone.
Well, that's good.
Danny's got their cell phone, and so he reconnects with his daughter. The same friend hears how they're, like, talking and, how this is so meaningful to him and buys him a plane ticket to go down to see her in Texas.
Oh, my God.
So he gets to see his daughter and his grandchildren for the first time in 8 years. Now, Danny finds out about this, and she is pissed. Pissed. And it didn't cost her anything. This is just a man going to see his child, right?
Oh, my God.
But she's also been busy on her own, our Danny.
What has she been up to?
She's been chatting up and emailing with another member of the gun club.
Uh-oh.
His name is George.
Mm-hmm.
And, his name is George. But you know that this is the Cowboy Club?
Yes, it is the Cowboy Club.
And they got the cowboy nicknames?
Yeah.
We're going to play a little game here.
Oh,
you
good.
and the listeners. Listeners, get ready. Get your phone out so you can hit pause. I want to hear your best guess. Not just Janet, the listeners. Leave your best guess in the comments. Hit pause and tell us what is your best guess for the cowboy name of this new person.
Oh, my God.
And pause. We'll be right back. Janet.
Tracey.
Janet,
Tracey.
Janet, what's your guess? Give me your best cowboy name.
So we've already used Doc. Let's see here.
She's Annie, or Danny Oakley.
Danny Oakley. Wow, I am really bad at cowboy names.
Not something you thought you were going to have to say when you woke up this morning.
No!
Damn, I'm really bad at cowboy names. But go on, just throw one out there. There are no wrong answers.
There are no wrong answers. So I'm going to go with something that's close to, something that's close to or related to John Wayne. That's all I got.
Okay. All right.
What is it?
Well, I'm going to show you a photo.
Oh, good. Before you tell me. Great.
Of this person.
Huh. Okay, I mean, he just looks
He's
like...
wearing a black hat. He kind of looks like a mediocre white dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like a little bit jowly. Middle-aged.
Uh-huh. What is his name?
My alias in cowboy shooting action name is Angus McNasty. It's Angus McNasty.
It sounds like one of those things where you put words together and like, this is your rap name or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, Angus McNasty. That's it. That's the joke. I spent like 15 minutes on this morning, and I really can't come up with anything better, so we're just going to let this go. I can't add to this. But Danny Oakley and Angus McNasty, they seem to have a kinship. She's a very understanding woman, as we know. And he's going through a really nasty divorce.
Oh, my God.
2013, Danny's parents die once again within just mere weeks of one another, very close together. And she inherits their property. Ray moves to Indiana, but he also does over-the-road truck driving because he's got to make some money still, too. It's decent pay, driving a truck, and it has benefits, like life insurance. 2014, January of 2014, Danny and Ray divorce. But for financial reasons only.
Oh.
Because he gets Social Security payout because his wife was killed in that awful accident.
Right.
He makes more in Social Security as a single man. So they divorce, but they're still living together. They're still, for all intents and purposes, together. They're just gaming the tax system.
Right.
May 27th, rather, of 2014. May 27th, 2014. Danny calls Ray's mom, Betty, and says, "Hey, I just need to let you know Ray's dead."
What?
Yeah, he was killed by Jazzy, the family dog. She just, it was the weirdest thing. There's not been anything wrong with this dog before, but she just leapt right up and got him in the throat.
What?
And yeah, the strangest, damnedest thing. She just leapt for his throat. He's dead. So Betty, first of all, I'm going to show you a picture of Ray and Danny and Jazzy. Could you please describe this dog to us?
It's a German Shepherd. It looks super sweet. It's looking at me like, what? Are you going to give me a treat?
Ears down, big soft eyes.
Yeah, no, very softy dog.
Not even a big German Shepherd. Probably not much bigger than Blue here.
Right.
I think they said this dog weighed about 55 pounds, which, keep in mind, this is a man that wrestled a 12-foot alligator.
Exactly.
Betty smells a rat. So she asks the sheriff if they can perform a wellness check on her son. They have heard nothing about a dog killing a man in town, so nobody's called about this yet.
Oh.
So the next day, the 28th of May, 2014, deputies go out. Danny's there. She's visiting with her sister. She's totally calm, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Ray's just out over the road. He's working." But as the officers are looking around, they're like, "He's an over-the-road truck driver?" "Yes, yeah. And he's out working?" "Oh, yeah." "And his semi is parked right there in the driveway?" "Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's borrowing somebody else's truck. I don't have anything to do with any of that. He's working." Danny says that the officers are welcome to look around the property. They can take a look at anywhere that they would like the whole acres, the house, the farmhouse, the vehicles, anything, anywhere they want, except for this one big locked toolbox, the kind that goes in the back of a truck. Mm-hmm. Well, that's Ray's, and I can't give permission for you to search that because it isn't my property. I don't even know what's in there, but it's not mine, so I can't tell you you can search it. You can search any of our property, any of my property, but that box, that's Ray's property. Can't look in Ray's property.
Oh, my God.
Well, they ping Ray's phone, the burner phone.
Mm-hmm.
It pings to the property.
Strange.
They look over by the box that they're not allowed to open, and they see that there are flies all over it and that it smells very bad. It's warrant time.
It's what time?
Warrant time.
Yes, it is.
Not time to sing warrant.
Damn it!
Guess what's in the box?
A body?
Yes, you're right. It's Ray.
Oh my God.
Here's the box, and look, it's got 2 latches and only one is latched.
Oh my God.
This is the most slipshod job.
Wow.
But it's not just Ray in the box.
What?
Dun dun dun. There's also a Ziploc bag containing a .38 and all of the spent casings, all put nice and neat together, sheets and a blanket, cleaning supplies, pieces of carpet that have been cut up out of the family bedroom.
Oh my.
She has collected the entire crime scene and gift wrapped it.
Wow.
It's all right there.
Thank you.
Now they look at the body, the dog mauled, and 5 bullets in the head and 5 in the torso. That dog was one hell of a shot. Jazzy, my goodness, how do you do it? Just a few little things from the trial. There's a whole lot that I could get into here, but we're going to just skim through them. She ditches the dog story, and now she says that Ray was abusive and he was violent. He attacked her. She had to shoot him in self-defense. But the bullets are, first of all, the bullets are all in the body. You can see entry points and not exit points. Because since they're the reproduction guns, they're a little bit slower.
Oh.
So the slugs are slower, and so they don't go all the way through.
Right.
Like back when, like, if you got shot with a bullet,
it went through you.
It was in you. And then if you didn't die from the shot itself, you would die from, like, the blood poisoning.
Right. No, you're right.
Now, also her search history, because she's just far enough along to have computers, but not far enough along to realize how many things that you do on a computer are, like, subject to scrutiny. Her search history shows, in the days before the murder, the following. Gabby Giffords. How did she survive? If you shoot someone in the head with a .38, would they survive?
Oh my God!
How to change the banks for Social Security deposits?
Oh my God!
During the 2-week trial, it also comes out that the bullet holes in blood indicate that Ray was wrapped up in the sheets and blanket and, like, sleeping and shot in the back.
Oh my God. Wow. So he was asleep. He had no idea.
Yes, and she shot him 5 times in the back and then, like, went down the hallway, reloaded her gun, came back and shot him another 5 times in the head. So she is given 60 years in prison.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the very sad part that I have about this is that Jazzy was never found.
Oh.
I mean, on one hand, it makes me think maybe she just let the dog go and it went somewhere else, because you would think that if it was, like, if something bad happened to her, hopefully, like, there would be...
Right.
I mean, this is obviously not somebody that's concerned with hiding evidence.
No kidding.
So... in my mind, and for the sake of our listeners, Jazzy went off to live on a farm. And Danny got what was coming to her.
Oh,
and that is the story of Cowboy Ray Green. My sources today for the story were smalltownmurder.com. 48 Hours, the TV show, has a really good episode about this called The Killing of Cowboy Ray Green. I also used DailyMail.uk and CBSNews.com.
Wow, that was crazy. That is so crazy.
I know. Oh gosh,
Folks,
I feel
you don't have to kill.
You don't.
If you
break up.
Just break up. She already inherited her parents' stuff. Why does she need more?
I know, and he didn't have anything to. Yeah, he didn't really have anything to give her. You know,
my God.
Just go off and get nasty with Angus McNasty.
Exactly.
Oh my.
Oh, so I guess this is where we need to take a break.
This is where I take Janet out back and introduce her to Angus McNasty, and we'll be back with What's Nice.
We'll be back with What's Nice. If you enjoy getting muddy with us, here are some ways to help support the podcast. Email us any suggestions at bigmuddymayhem@gmail.com. Like and subscribe to the podcast on the platform where you're listening. And of course, a good review will help us reach new listeners. We also have Buy Me a Coffee, which is linked in the description. If you're listening to YouTube, leave a comment in the comments section. And also join our Facebook group where we can discuss the episodes and hear your suggestions. And of course, tell your friends, your family, anyone you want.
Total strangers.
Total strangers. And now, let's get back to What's Nice. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Now we're going to do What's Nice.
We are here to talk about What's Nice.
So I am going to go with the city Moberly because...
Sure. Because that's where we were.
Exactly. And, you know, we've been talking a lot about restaurants or places to go. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what do we like about small towns? What are they good at?
So good at, like, really good food. You can find home-style food, specifically breakfast, maybe?
Right. But they're also really good at little things that you can go to, such as, you know, fairs and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Small town. They're the best.
Right.
They're the best.
They find one thing and they go all in.
Exactly.
I love it.
So we're going to talk about the Railroad Days.
Okay.
We already missed it this year. It happens in June. I know. So events are held at the Moberly Depot Park area. They have bingo, they have vendors, the Rotary food concessions, a Fiesta beer tent, C&H food truck, and under the Depot Park Pavilion / Clock Tower area.
Oh, dear.
I just love it. I mean, it just screams small town, right?
They built a time machine out of a DeLorean. Yeah.
So, like this year, they actually have a Railroad Days pageant.
Miss Railroad.
I
That
know.
sounds so dirty. Miss Railroad is what they used to call me in college. Hey, boys.
They have Little Mr. and Miss Contest. They have a carnival. Of course, they have bingo. They have music. People I've never heard of, like Drew Baxter, a.k.a. Jordan Heckmeyer, Dan Coughlin. I'm sure they're small bands from Missouri. They have a baby show. I don't really understand that. And then, of course, they have, carnival, more bingo. They have a car show because, of course, you have to have a car show.
Do you want to go heckle the baby show? Just like a handful of people in the back going, ew,
So ugly!
try again!
Oh my god. This is my favorite band name that played over this past weekend.
Okay.
Biscuits and Groovy.
Biscuits and Groovy.
I want to go see them. But anyway, the Railroad Days, they're hosted by the Moberly Rotary Club at Depot Park. It was started by the Rotary Club to celebrate the town's foundation and history around the railroad. The event has amenities that include carnival, live music, queen pageant, baby show again, various crafts, food vendors, beer garden, and more. And of course, here we go. See, here's pictures of the actual pageant itself.
Okay.
And
This
then
is
there's
the baby show?
no, this is the Little Miss and Mrs.
Good.
Yeah, there's more. I don't know. Something about small children being in pageants freaks me out.
Icky. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but then there's that.
Oh.
Caramel
The
apples.
caramel apples are nice. You know
Caramel
what?
apples.
That doesn't hurt anybody.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so that's a thing that happens in June every year in Moberly.
Okay. We need to eventually start like a big muddy calendar with all of the little
Yes.
Midwest small town,
Right.
small town festivals and events.
Right, and we
stuff.
can always invite our listeners to come
That's
meet us.
right. Do some meet and greets
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I don't know.
So that's my what's nice for Moberly,
That
Missouri.
is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I have got a what's nice as well.
Cool.
And I was able to find a what's nice from Dillsboro, Indiana. Or right alongside the highway outside of Dillsboro, which is hard to do. But along Route 262, passing through Dillsboro, there's an elephant on a trailer behind a fence.
Okay.
Now, this is a big, huge, sculptural, larger than life size
Okay.
by many, many magnitudes elephant.
Oh yeah.
And it's just kind of
What's wrong with
behind
its
a fence.
What's wrong with its eyes? Why is its eyes like that? The eyes are creepy.
It has seen some things. This elephant. And nobody really seems to know for sure. Like, nobody resides there anymore. There's no real full account of the elephant, how it came to be there, why there. One source does say that they credit it to around 1969 and that it was made for a political race in Cincinnati.
Oh.
But how it got to Dillsboro, who knows? Anyway, local historians do say that the site that it sits on used to be a missile silo.
Oh.
And that once it was no longer fit for that, like kind of end of the Cold War, like right where the elephant sits underneath, there was a bunker, and that it was owned by, it was personal property, private property for a while, and that it was used to store classic cars.
Oh.
Whatever it is, what I like about this is it's interesting to me because it seems to serve, right now, no retail or commercial purpose whatsoever. It's just this little piece of weird
Yes!
out there on the side of the road as you're driving down the highway.
I love weird on road
yes,
trips.
So for me, that's what's nice.
That's awesome. I love it.
All right. And my source for my what's nice here was, I also found this hilarious, a website called Amish365.com. Which also seems to contradict itself, but once you're talking about a giant missile silo elephant along the side of a road in the middle of nowhere, Indiana,
right?
Logic goes out the window.
Right.
So,
well, I think this is where we end.
This is where we wrap it up. Thank you, Muddy Buddies, for spending time with us again this week. We really do appreciate each and every one of you.
Very much.
And thank you for giving us a platform to tell our weird little stories and have our weird little laughs.
We promise we are still working on the sound thing. We realize we need another piece of equipment to make both microphones work.
That's right.
We're getting there. We're working there.
Game of inches.
Yes.
But for now, we hope that you have a great week and that we'll see you again when we tune in next week with more stories for you. And there is one more tiny thing that we do need to remind you of in the days ahead, and that is that you need to
stay Midwest nice.
Stay Midwest nice.